Welcome into ClayShareCon 2026. We are here, day 2, the last demo of the day. I know, I'm very sad, but excited because we have Krista Wiley joining us from Diamond Core Tools, and she's gonna be doing some Sgraffito and sanding for you all. And you know, I love Diamond Core Tools. I've been using them since we were just talking about 2014 with the palm carver, that little P1 back in the day. And actually carved this with it, this beautiful pedestal bowl that I made. And then moving on, the L3, you know how much I love my L3, which I did these gorgeous sakura plates here that I carved. And then you want a fun class? Blobby Cats. This is a ClayShare class. You can go watch. If you're a member, you get this class. Go search up Blobby Cats. No, we're not lying. They're blobs, and we carve them. And they're so cute and fun to do. And the great thing about it is you don't have to have any kind of drawing talents. If you can blob underglaze, you can make it, and I bet you can. So, all right, I just want to show you some possibilities. We're gonna head on out to Krista and see what she's working on. I'm really excited because this is the first time I'm meeting her. So for me, and maybe you, let's introduce Krista to the ClayShare family. Hey, Krista, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here with us.
Family.
Yeah, me too. I'm so glad to have you here with us. So what you going to show us?
Yes, so I have a couple little demos to do. Like you said, I absolutely love Diamond Core. I feel so excited to be here with them. And my favorite product by them is probably the sanding pads, or even like their sanding discs, things like that. And I feel like most people think that you can only use them like after the glaze firing's done, just to get a nice soft bottom. But I just wanted to show a couple different techniques today with their sanding pads at the Bisque stage, and then also show off their new L4 Sgraffito tool. It's quickly become like my absolute favorite one. So yeah, I'm super excited to show some new techniques today. So what I'm going to show off first is this beautiful cup. I actually used the Flex and Specs colorful grog. I used a little bit of the extra small and a little bit of the small. And I brought these bisque pieces all the way from Arkansas out to California, but this is the same exact clay body, same exact amount of Flex and Specs in this. However, as you can tell, you can't really see that color because that clay from throwing is still just kind of over it. And even when I trimmed, you know, it's still kind of hard to get those pops of color. So what I found is best to do, I have a little bowl here. I also have the tough sponge, which is probably my favorite for any like finishing technique. But I'm going to use the M1, which is a 60 grit sandpaper, super floppy, which I love, so I can really like bend and get into tight areas. And yeah, we're just going to start sanding. Always, when you're sanding, you want to make sure that you're using water. You want to make sure that both the sandpaper and the piece is wet, because, you know, we all hear none of us want any extra silica. We want to avoid that at all costs. So typically I would probably wear like a N95 mask or respirator, but I'm using a whole lot of water here today, so I feel pretty safe. So I'm going to go in and just with little circular motions, start sanding. Sorry, I know this is probably like nails on a chalkboard to some y'all, but just got it jiggly a little bit here. So another great thing about sanding at the bisque stage is the clay is softer at the bisque stage than obviously it is after you've glaze fired it. So any little lines like this, or like little fingerprints, things like that that are maybe left over from when you threw, you can use the sandpaper to also buff those out and just get a super soft finish before you even glaze it. Because if you're using a clear glaze, that's going to pop through, and it might just be me, but I really like a really smooth piece. So again, this is a 60 grit. You can probably use the, like I also have the 120 and the 200 grit here. I just like the 60 grit to get that initial pass of all of that covering clay off of it. Then real quick, we're gonna see the difference between just kind of wiping off that clay that I already sanded off. You can definitely see that there's a difference there where I've already sanded versus where I haven't sanded yet.
You
Those
can
colors are
definitely
just gonna
tell.
pop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if I were to put a clear glaze over this, obviously it's gonna look pretty much the exact same, just glossy. So you really want to get all of those nice pops of color. And too, like you can kind of feel the grog in this clay because it is a chunkier grog, just so you can see those colors. And when you're sanding it, it helps to just smooth all of that out really nice. You can also go in and smooth the inside as well. If you have any kind of weird like clay bumps or anything like that, I love to sand at the bisque stage so that I prevent those from, getting fired onto the finished piece and having a wonky feeling rim. So yeah, this is one of my favorite techniques. I know Flex and Specs is a newer company as well. Obviously, Diamond Core isn't, but I just feel like their products go so perfectly together so that you still can really see their grog poke through. And unlike other sandpaper, like wet dry sandpaper, this sandpaper is going to last like I say forever. I haven't been around forever, so not quite sure on that. But I got my first Diamond Core sanding papers when I was in undergrad about 3.5 years ago. Splurged on them because I believed in the quality of them, and I still use them. Like I said, 3.5 years later, I've probably sanded like 1,500 pots at least at this point, and they're still kicking and going strong. So
Yeah, they
another,
last a long time. I still have
yeah,
I have sanding the sponges from ages
yes,
ago that I still use. Like they're still good. They're still going.
yeah, I feel like they're gonna outlast me, honestly. But so another really fun technique is this is glaze fired, but I started doing this recently, and it is kind of a technique where you're painting on a bunch of underglaze colors onto greenware and then bisque firing it. So this is bisque fired because you want that underglaze to kind of center on. No matter how much I wipe, it's not going to fall off or come off. Um, and then you're sanding through the different layers of underglaze to get those pops of color. So real quick, obviously none of us like to watch paint dry, but I just wanted to show you like I did 3 coats of purple, 3 coats of blue, 3 coats of I think this is like, yeah, minty green. And because I'm doing 3 coats, waiting in between each coat to let that dry, you really cannot see the purple poking through the green, purple poking through the blue, anything like that. So it's going to be nice, like a nice intense color. Another fun little thing that you can do when it's green, like this is a pretty dry leather hard, is I'm going to use the arc tool and, imagine I painted all 3 layers. Just do like some little baby scraping. And it'll have that fun technique where you will see those different layers, green to blue to purple. Maybe wait till it's a little bit drier, but yeah, so
That's very
we
fun.
have, yes, it's so fun. I don't know. I feel like there's so many different techniques that you can do with tools that, I mean, you wouldn't normally think to use the arc shaver for something like that, but yeah, the possibilities are endless. So on this piece, I painted, I think I went from yellow to orange to pink. This is bisque fired, and I'm going to show you guys how to get to that yellow and kind of have that, it's kind of like a heat sensor type look. So again, I'm going in with the M1, which is a 60 grit. I like to go in with this first because it can help really get into the layers of underglaze. And then I will probably finish off with like an M2, M3, which is a 120 or a 200 grit, just to get like a nice smooth finish. So again, getting everything nice and wet. We don't want silica flying in the air. And I'm going to do circular motions. And I'm pressing in a good bit here. And boom, you can already see that orange poke through. It does not take a whole lot of work to get down into the layers. And there's that yellow. If I were to keep sanding, I'm going to hit that clay, like the natural clay body. So I think at this point, I kind of want to stop there and just kind of show you guys how
I
it's
love
really
it.
glowing through. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sunrise. That is great.
Yeah. And it's so fun. You can, another really fun thing is if you do like a dark blue and go up, you can add, I only did 3 layers. You can add as many layers as you want, but a really cool like monochromatic look where you're just using blue and white underglaze and adding in a little bit more white each time. So you're going to keep sanding. You know, some areas I might only want the orange to poke through. Some areas I definitely want to keep that pretty pink color. And again, this underglaze is just Bisque fired on, just silicone so thick. Making sure I'm using lots of water. And I personally like the circular motions. I feel like if you're going up and down or side to side, it's definitely going to work. It's going to just kind of give a different look to how that sunrise kind of comes through. But let's show that real quick. So just going up and down. This technique is also really cool if you do some carving before you add the underglaze. So like the classic P1 from Diamond Core, one of my favorite carving tools, probably like my most used, because that underglaze is going to get into all of those divots. And when you're sanding, it'll sand off obviously like the clay that is highest. So it's going to really emphasize that texture. Yeah, you just can go all around your piece. You can choose how much you want to sand, how little you want to sand. If you want to stop and make sure that that natural clay body isn't coming through, or if you want to keep going and have it poke out. This is white bear clay. So it's like a really nice pristine white. So sometimes it's fun for it to poke through. And let's just see how this looks. So obviously we want to make sure it's nice and clean because if we throw glaze on top of this, that's all is going to stick to it. Yeah, super fun, like sunset heat sensor type look. If you use like green, blue, and red and yellow, you're really going to get that heat sensory kind of look.
That is a really cool idea. I've never done that with underglazes and sanding back, so I'm gonna have to try this.
Yes, yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I typically would use the sanding paper for after it's already fired, but it's so fun. This I actually did not use any glaze on the outside. I think from sanding it, it kind of got a nice sheen to the underglaze.
Yeah, like a terracige almost effect
Yeah,
when you
exactly. And then I'm trying to see if you guys can tell. So you can definitely see, like right here, if I'm too blurry, let me know.
there you go.
You can
That's good.
see where that not the underglaze, that sandpaper, you can really tell where the grit is. So if you don't want to really see that grit, you can always go back through. This is here we go, M3, which is a 200 grit, and just kind of smooth out any of that more intense grit to the underglaze or to the where you've already sanded at. Yeah. So now I would
This
love
is
to
very
talk.
cool.
I'm so glad that you're liking it. And now, if you guys are down, I would love to talk a bit about the L4 and like doing some Sgraffito.
We're always down for Sgraffito here.
Yeah,
Like carving,
perfect.
yes.
So with this little guy, I actually, instead of doing Sgraffito, bisquing it, and then doing the underglaze, I find that the underglaze tends to want to stick to the raw clay whenever I wipe it from bisque, which I mean, you can fix that by doing some sandpaper, but my favorite way to kind of counteract that is actually taking a piece when it's a dry leather hard and covering the whole thing in wax resist. As you can see, it's pretty shiny. Even if I'm just doing like one little portion of the piece, I like to cover the whole piece in wax resist just to make sure that it's not going to like dry unevenly. So I could either freehand, for being honest here, I'm not the best at that. So I usually sketch out on a little piece of paper. This is just printer paper. And I'm going to just hold it onto this round surface. And I'm going to use the SC3. It's one of Diamond Core's styling tool or stylus tools, which usually I would use for like attaching things or things like that. But this little point is really great for tracing. So I'm just going to go through and trace this little image that I have. And what that's going to do is it's not going to carve into the clay for me, obviously, but it's going to show me where I need to carve. It's going to do some indentions onto the clay itself. So I know exactly where I want to carve because it's pretty hard to just freehand onto a cylindrical piece. And I love the grip that is on here. I feel like I'm really able to do a lot of indentions without my hand getting too tired. So we pull that away and we can see, I don't know if you guys can really see it, but I think when it's kind of shiny, you can see where all of those indentions are. I'm also going to use this little finger brush from Diamond Core. Actually, I'm going to put it on my pinky. This is their fine brush, so it's nice and soft. Isn't going to like really indent into the clay or anything. And feels very proper when it's on your pinky.
Right, very fancy with your
I'm like,
pinky brush
hello,
there.
time for
Keep
some
your
tea.
pinky up when you carve.
Exactly. A good little reminder to be proper. So with all of the Diamond Core tools, Sgraffito tools, I don't know if you guys really can tell, but they all have like this rough grit on them. It's kind of like, if you can kind of hear it, it's a rough grit so that it's actually going to get into the clay and help smooth it out, where sometimes just a regular ball stylus is going to be too smooth to really get into the clay like you need it to, especially if it's a dry leather hard. And that's my favorite point to carve into clay personally. But to each their own. But yeah, it's really great to really kind of scrape away the clay, or even like scrape out some glaze or any underglaze mishaps you have once it's bisqued. A little top tip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this purple end of the L4, pinky up, of course, and just start tracing and getting that Sgraffito in where I've already traced. And I think why I like this one so much is it gives nice, oh, there we go, nice and proper. It gives nice, deep, and wide lines. So that underglaze is really going to get in those lines and pop. So real quick, I'm just going to finish carving this real quick. And again, I'm carving into wax resist. So I would not put these little clay noodles, these little clay boogers back into my reclaim because it does have wax on it. And as we all know, the only way to get rid of wax resist after it's on a piece is to bisque fire it. So don't really want that in your reclaim. There we go.
I think we need fancy music every time you use the little brush, like
I know.
fancy
some,
brush
like,
music or something.
I wish I had like a nice cup of tea that I could sip afterward.
Right? Like, ooh, la la.
Yeah. Then I'm just gonna go in with some underglaze. Nice deep blue color so y'all can see it really well. And using a brush, I'm going to paint this underglaze all over where I just carved. I'm getting, pretty deep, like a pretty thick layer because it's sinking into that clay. I won't be doing 3 coats of this because it's going to already sink into the holes of the clay and doesn't really need 3 coats in my opinion. And as you can see where it's touching that wax resist, it really like bubbles up. And after it has, I'm gonna wait for it to dry for a second. And then just super quickly wipe away. I feel like with Sgraffito, typically you see people carving into the underglaze, but you definitely can carve into the wax resist and have a nice clean line like that as well.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Glad y'all like it. Or you can also double up and use both techniques. So on this piece, right before we tuned in, I painted some wax resist blobs as well as some underglaze blobs. And that is how you're going to get that duality of having pieces where the underglaze is in the clay and where you're actually carving out or sgraffitoing out of the underglaze itself. So, I mean, what should we write on it? We can write clay Shercon. That could be fun. Just like perfect. Let's do it. And I'm going in with the L3. It's a little bit different than the L4. The L4 is just like a ball stylus. And then the L3 is actually like a football kind of shape. So a little bit of a point on the end.
That's my favorite tool, the L3. That's my desert island tool. Like if I'm going
Desert
down, that's
island
going
tool. I
with
love
me.
that.
Yeah, that and like 3 other things are going, but I have to have that.
That would be such a good like intro question. Like first day
Okay.
of a little thing of, okay, what are the 3 tools you can't live without?
It's a hard one. You think about the things you use, but that's
I
definitely mine.
know. Clay share. This is a bit of a dry clay, but there is. And I have my wax resist right here. It's kind of hard to see, even like for myself. One thing that you can do is you can take wax resist, and if it's not colored, you can just add a couple drops of food coloring in, and that's going to help you actually be able to see where you're placing that wax resist, and it's going to just burn out, so you don't even have to worry about it. So let's do, how about a little heart? Going all around, just doing fun little shapes. And I like that I don't have to switch. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't have to switch tools in between going from the wax to the underglaze. Let's do a little diamond for diamond core. As I said, guys, I'm a 3D artist, not great at drawing. So if these are bad, just lie to me. Thank you very much.
Oh, I think they're wonderful.
One more little wax resist one. Perfect. And before I add that underglaze or do anything, again, I'm just gonna go in with my little finger brush. You can put these on your finger. Also, if there's like one, if you know that you're only gonna be using one side of a tool or something like that, you're able to just kind of put it on whatever tool is around. So you have some area to be able to wipe off with.
So that'd be great because you could flip it over and carve, flip it back to.
Exactly, yes.
I usually hold a brush in my hand and a carving tool. Like with one hand, I'll have them in my fingers. I've just gotten used to holding a brush there while I carve. And I just kind of twist and brush and go back to carving. But I need to use that. Diamond Core sent me some. I have to use them.
Yes, and I really like the fine ones. They're like so soft. The tough ones are also really nice when the clay is pretty dry, so you're able to really like be kind of aggressive when you're scooching those clay boogers off. But for something like this where it's, I want to be delicate and a little bit wet, I like the fine ones a lot. I am going to go back in with some of this underglaze. And I'm not going to put it where I already have underglaze because we already have that pop of color. And if I were to wipe that off, then I'm going to wipe the underglaze that's already there off. I'm only going to focus on those wax resist parts. So just throwing some underglaze on. I always make my wax resist circle a good bit larger than I need to, just so I make sure that when I'm wiping, that wax resist is only going, or the underglaze is only going to come up. The wax resist is going to help protect the rest of the piece that I'm working on. There we go. And I will typically let the underglaze sit just for like a couple seconds. I don't like to let it dry like for a super long time because I feel like I'd be scrubbing a little bit more. And with this, you can definitely like coordinate all the colors, make sure you're using like a teal with a teal over here, that kind of thing. But for this, I just really love this blue. This is the Mako Aquamarine underglaze. And their sponges are like so big. There's quite a few different little areas you can use to wipe, so you don't have to keep going back and rinsing your sponge over and over. So yeah, now we have both wax resist Sgraffito and underglaze Sgraffito all in one little clay pot.
It's great. I love that you showed the two different ways that technique can look. It's wonderful. And I think it's very approachable for folks that might want to try this, that have never done it before. You can see how you don't have to do these great, big, huge, elaborate carvings. You could just start with some sweet
Exactly, yeah.
carvings in just a few areas and then work your way up to bigger things. We all start somewhere, start small, and then work
Yes,
your way up.
exactly. I feel like even whenever I'm working, I love making little espresso cups like this because they're nice and small. They're not intimidating. It's not a lot of clay, so if I mess it up, even if it has underglaze on it, like I'm not super worried about. It's not as precious as like a vase or a really nice mug or something like that. So I will start like if I know that I'm going to be sgraffitoing a lot or carving a lot, I will make just a little espresso cup and just like practice a little bit on here, do a couple of little dainty carvings, and then I feel like I'm really able to focus and get into like all of the rest of the things I'm carving. But that's again why I really like using paper or newsprint, and transfer paper is also really great. So if you're like me and you cannot draw on a cylindrical piece, this is really nice that you're able to just kind of put it on there, hold it on there, and trace over it.
It's a great tip, and it's a good place for folks to start if they want to try it. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So we've
Yeah,
got
thank you.
about a minute and a half left. Anything else you want to share with folks before we go?
Let me think. I know that whenever I got here, I was showing off some of the pieces I had made, and I forgot to sign them because, as one does. I think that my favorite way to sign pieces is using the L1. We have like a little Sula needle rubber on this because it is super, super pointy, super, super sharp. Has definitely gone under my fingernail a few times and hurts. So love keeping, using that needle rubber to keep myself safe. But I love how tiny this little ball stylus is. And again, it has that grit to it. So even if your pieces are kind of dried out, you can still really sign on there. And I feel like it's really close to a pencil or a pen for signing, and that grip is really nice. So if you are like, wow, I need to get better at signing my name or want a tool that's really great and like specific for that, I think definitely go for the L1. But yeah, the L4 just came out, so I'm really enjoying playing with this one mainly.
It is a fun one. I do like it a lot too. They all are great. The whole L series. In fact,
Yeah.
I think we're giving away a set of them. I have them over there, so I'm assuming they
Ooh.
came in a box. So I'm assuming they're going to be given away.
Oh,
But they're
amazing.
all great. The L3 is my favorite because it's
Yes.
just like my baby. I do love the L1 as well. And then the L4 and then the L2. So that's my ranking of the L
Hmm.
series. Although you really can't go wrong. They're all great. So
Yes, I so agree.
love
And I
them.
love how
Uh,
Diamond Core like ships everything so that you can
I
keep their
know.
boxes as little like display and everything's just ready and out whenever you need it. It's great.
Well, and it's nice because you can put them back and then you don't lose them.
Yes.
When you go to find them, you're like, oh yeah, they're in their box on the shelf over there, and you can just go grab them.
Yes, it's
So
amazing.
it's it's wonderful. Thank you so much. Do you now, where can
Thank
people find
you.
your work? I know we can find Diamond Core Tools at Diamond Core Tools on
Yes.
Instagram and on Facebook and diamondcoretools.com. But if people want to look at your work, Krista, where can we see you?
Yes, I'm on Instagram at kwilley, Willey .ceramics.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It
Yeah,
was wonderful to meet you.
it was
Great
so
to
nice
see
to
you
meet you. I
work.
had such a great
Are you,
time.
uh, I did too. Are you going to be at NCECA?
Yes, I will be. I will be hanging out at the Sula
Yay!
booth the whole time
Okay,
and
I'll
with the
come
Diamond
say
Core booth. We're right
hi.
next to each other.
All
We have some
right.
super fun things planned and like some little surprises up our sleeve that we're so excited to share with you guys.
Awesome. I can't wait. Well, I will see you in
Yes.
Detroit then. Thank you so
Yes.
much
See you
for
in
being part
Detroit.
of Clay Share Con. And
Thank
a huge thank
you.
you to everybody at Diamond Core Tools. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thanks.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Such a
Thank
wonderful
you.
demo from Krista. And of course, you'll be able to watch the replay, and you're going to want to, because she showed so many different things you can do and so many different techniques. So there's something for everyone in that. So again, huge thank you to Diamond Core Tools. They've been part of our family for so long. We just love them to pieces and always love to have them here for Clay Share Con. So we're going to have a little break, and when I come back, we're going to give away 25 prizes. I know, right? 25. That's a bit silly, but that's what we're doing at 6:15 p.m. tonight. Now, if you want to enter, you have to go to clayshare.com and sign up for your email, sign up for our emails there. If you are a premium member, or just like, there's only one membership level on ClayShare. People ask, there's really only one. We have free stuff, which you don't have to really do anything to watch, but to see all of the ClayShare member content, you have to be a member. If you sign up to be a member, which you can get a discount, so you can save with CSC26, get 25% off your first 3 months. But guess what? If you sign up, you're automatically, that's the word, signed up for every giveaway we ever do. You don't have to do anything. You never miss out. You do not have to watch to win. Nobody has to watch to win. I like you watching, but you don't have to. We're going to give it to you anyways. So take a little break. I'm going to pull out all the prizes and put them on the table, and I'm going to give them all away. I'll see you in a few minutes.